Hey everyone, welcome to Locked On Lakers for Wednesday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. LeBron James sits out the first day of practice and is on a slow ramp up to opening day. Any reason for concern? That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everyone for making Locked On Lakers your first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter where you get your podcasts. This one's always free and never behind paywall. Of course, people get it on the Spotify. They go to Apple Podcasts. They subscribe there. And many people, Andy, are watching these days as well on YouTube. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where over 36,000 subscribers are watching the show and talking to us, talking to each other, leaving questions, leaving comments. And today, Andy, I imagine they are talking about LeBron James, who sat out practice on Monday and may sit out a few more practices between now and the beginning of the season, may not even play any preseason games. Andy, we don't know for sure if he's going to be in the regular season opener. We'll get to all that in a second. I want to let people know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your first $5 bet wins, get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. So Monday, Andy, everybody was in a great mood. Everybody felt good. Everybody looked great. We were all excited, and it took 24 hours for Lakers fans now to have something to worry about with LeBron James on the sidelines in street clothes during practice. Due to some nerve pain, nerve irritation, as JJ Redick called it, in the glute. He's got his butt hurts.
It's quite literally a pain in the ass. LeBron is dealing with right now a quite literal pain in the ass. It's interesting. This did not come up, as you said, during LeBron's media day session because
nobody asked him how.
Frankly, no, yeah, exactly. Nobody actually asked LeBron for a health update, which I guess in retrospect, all of us were derelict in our duty, our time with LeBron, the assembled media. Frankly, there were so many other things that seemed, I think, more interesting with LeBron, whether you're talking about his headspace heading into the season, whether with satisfaction with the team or just holy bleep, I'm about to turn 41 entering season 23. There's always a lot to cover with LeBron, and the MCL injury that he dealt with in the playoffs feels so long ago because, frankly, it was April, that it becomes easy to forget about. And
all the reports are, and we saw the workouts like that, he's not limited by that injury, but we didn't think about, the rest of him.
Right. And, what he's dealing with right now, to the best of my knowledge, isn't related to that anyway. But I would say in retrospect, maybe we all should have been a little bit more on alert when in the preceding week's presser with Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick, I believe it was Dan Wojcicki from The Athletic, asked if there were any injury concerns heading into the season. And without saying it in a way that clearly perked up our ears enough, Rob and JJ kind of non-specifically parried the question. And then after the media session was done in an exclusive with ESPN and Dave McMenamin, LeBron revealed that there were some issues going on right now. And then it was elaborated more during Tuesday's season opening practice from JJ Redick.
Yeah, and it's a question of nerve irritation, as it's been described, as Dave reports it. Team James. Look, I will say this: it was probably. Yeah,
is LeBron going to go visit the LeBron James of butt doctor?
who is the German butt doctor that he can go see? Fix this problem? Who is the LeBron James of butts?
I'd like to ask LeBron. I think LeBron would laugh at that. I actually think he'd find that funny.
He is 41 years old, basically. And, in season 23, there was probably going to be some limiting of his activity in training. He's in good shape. It's not like LeBron's got to play himself there.
He actually looked great on the podium. He actually looked really good.
Phenomenal. As much as we're talking about Luka and all that kind of stuff. Like LeBron, it's like it is insane how fit and all that he still is. So
I remember during LeBron's first season with the Lakers when he had that groin injury, and that was really the first major injury of LeBron's career, which in and of itself is pretty amazing given he was already in like season 15 or 16 at that point. Like, it was the first time he had really ever missed a lot of time. And the first practice that LeBron was participating in, I was there to cover it, and they open up like the tail end of practice to media. And LeBron, as he often does, was practicing shirtless. And it just dawned on me, LeBron, who looked ripped as always, after like a couple months following a groin injury where presumably there's a lot he could not do that he would normally do as part of his just, insane fitness regimen. I was like, this is as close to dad bod as LeBron ever gets. It's sickening and frankly so disheartening how he makes people like you and me feel. Like, this is how LeBron
I
let himself go.
I can probably think of one or two things that are different about me and LeBron. But the third one would be I never take my shirt off when I'm exercising. Shirt stays on for the benefit of me and for the benefit of everyone near me.
You had 2 or 3 shirts just to make sure
sometimes I take other people's shirts and I put them on.
Put on a trench coat.
Give me that.
Whatever.
And so there was going to be a limit as to how much he was going to probably do during this training camp anyway, because the Lakers are playing the long game here. And according to Dave, the Team James, as part of their plan with the Lakers, said they want them to be, overly cautious with LeBron in this training camp. I think the sentiment being that they probably went a little too hard last year in camp, as to show, and this is to say, according to Dave, to show some buy-in with JJ that early in the season.
JJ actually expressed gratitude for it, even acknowledging in retrospect it may have been too much. He said, as a first-time head coach, it did make my job easier.
Yeah, for sure. So, all of that stuff, comes with all kinds of caveats, and there is no indication yet that he's not going to play in the season opener. And if the Lakers are playing, it seems like 8 billion preseason games this year. It's actually 6. But I don't know how many of those he was going to play in anyway. But it's just one of those deals where until we get that sense that he's back on the floor, that he's, participating as normal, that he is good to go for the 21st, which is still 3 weeks away. There's plenty of time to get ready for that. Until we have those indications that it is not going to be something that is something we need to worry about going into the season, fans are going to worry about it, because for the Lakers to get where they want to go, this is Luka Doncic's team, no question. He is their best player, no question. They still need LeBron to be about what he was last year.
I think it's premature to panic. It is definitely not premature to be concerned.
Yeah.
And look, if the price of getting LeBron available for the majority of the regular season is sacrificing the preseason, you do that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And again, if it avoids what we saw last year, where the overwork, forget perhaps leading to where we are right now, it may have led to that period where LeBron needed to take a couple weeks away from the team to physically and mentally recharge. If you can potentially avoid all of those things by essentially, again, sacrificing a lot of the preseason, you do it.
Oh, yeah, no question.
But at the same time, it's definitely not the most ideal way of going about this stuff.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Okay, we will get into that.
It is, there is, that wasn't all of the somewhat worrisome injury news the Lakers got on the first day. So that's all next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season's in full swing. My fantasy team is kicking arse. And FanDuel is making sure you are ready for every kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers, you bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel fits however you want to bet, whether you're talking player props, building a same game parlay, even jumping in live as the action unfolds. If you're somebody who has a feel for how, in particular, fourth quarters are going to shake out, you can get ahead of those results with a little wager. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching the team you root for IRL or, again, keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup that, again, so far, I'm very much enjoying. Are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
All right. So, we'll get to the other injury stuff here in a second. Do want to note the Lakers did make a two-way signing. Nick Smith Jr. is going to be the third two-way player the Lakers carry. A first-round pick of 2 years ago, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago by the Charlotte Hornets. He was let go by the Hornets who had a roster crunch. Little guy with some athleticism, some offensive game, 21 years old. I think it's a nice pickup for the Lakers. Good use of sort of what you should do with those two-way deals. I like that one.
Yeah, it's a nice flyer. Obviously, his career has thus far not developed the way Charlotte had hoped when they drafted him. But the flip side is how many careers do flourish the way Charlotte expects when they draft them?
Very few. He did started 27 games last year with the Hornets.
Look, ask Malik Monk how freeing it can be to play anywhere other than Charlotte.
Yes, it's liberating sometimes to go somewhere else.
Dalton Connect's season fell apart just by having spent time in their building. He completely regressed.
I don't even think he broke a sweat wearing any
he
Charlotte
completely
clothes.
Regressed just from being indirectly connected to Hornets playing time in their development.
Whatever that Delta flight is, it just takes you to the airport, sucks out your talent. So that is a little bit of housekeeping there. We'll get to the rest of the sort of the injury updates here in a second, but just to finish up with LeBron, one of the things that I think was going to be really important about this training camp is that idea of developing continuity and really having a chance to build chemistry through practice with LeBron and Luka first and foremost, but then that trifecta of LeBron, Luka, and Austin. And Reeves talked about it at practice on Tuesday. Like, LeBron is still there, he's still talking, he's still communicating, and that is a nice spin on it. It's not the same thing as LeBron being on the floor, going through the reps, playing a couple preseason games and all that. It's not the same thing. And so it's not the end of the world, like you said in the last segment, but it's not good.
No. For the goals that the Lakers have openly talked about, and in particular, the advantage of having this preseason and training camp and foundation building opportunity with Luka, it's not the way you want things to start out. It's not that, there are no concepts or schemes that are going to be implemented that LeBron will not understand. He's going to pick them up in roughly 30 seconds. I'm not worried about that part of it. It's the on-court reps. It's frankly everybody else picking it up as well as they can with LeBron and how LeBron is going to operate a lot of that stuff because I don't think he'll necessarily have the ball in his hands as much as Luka, but he's likely going to have the ball in his hands as much as anybody not named Luka, and that's going to matter.
And it's not just the time. It's precisely, I think, for me, a lot of the times with the ball not in his hands.
Sure.
It's how can you create, really leverage the skill sets of Luka and LeBron. LeBron setting screens for Luka with AR there, AR doing stuff and setting down, or Ayton sets a screen and LeBron is off-ball cutting, or LeBron's got moving Luka. Like, there's so many different combinations because of the IQ level the Lakers have on that side of the ball. And it's just, you can walk through stuff, you can do it. It works better when you can run things full speed, full contact, doing all that. And once the season begins, now the Lakers do have a couple quirks in the schedule where they get actually an unusual amount of practice time relatively early in the season. They've got a couple blocks where that happens, but broadly speaking, you don't practice nearly as much as I think the average fan thinks you do once the season starts. And so training camp really is important for developing those reps. Again, not an emergency, not a calamity. He was going to be treated carefully anyway, but it is suboptimal at the very least. If you can look past the LeBron headlines for injuries, it wasn't the only one. I also didn't love Marcus Smart sitting out with left Achilles tendinopathy was the reasoning for that. Again, no huge alarm bells being set off by the organization, but Marcus Smart has essentially lost 2 seasons to injury. And so to not be fully healthy to start this one gives me, the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, per the Mayo Clinic's definition, tendinopathy in the Achilles is essentially the same thing as Achilles tendinitis, quote, an umbrella term for conditions affecting the tendon. It often occurs in runners who have suddenly increased how hard or how long they play. It's often common in middle-aged people who play sports such as tennis and basketball only on weekends. By NBA standards,
he's a middle-aged person, right?
He is a middle-aged person. Most often, Achilles tendinitis can be treated with an at-home care guided by a healthcare professional. Obviously, Marcus Smart will have access to the best in the world. This, though, is the part that my brain immediately went to.
Assuming his PPO covers it.
Well, especially given where we are right now. Serious cases of Achilles tendinitis can lead to tendon tears, also called ruptures. Tears might need surgery to fix them. We are right now in the not so golden age of Achilles tears in the NBA, in particular with guards. Mm-hmm. Again, I want to make it clear. I'm not saying Marcus Smart is on the verge of an Achilles tear because, quite frankly, I don't know enough about that to even speculate.
It would be wildly irresponsible.
I'm just saying I don't even know enough about this to make that sort of supposition. I'm just saying it's where my mind went, and I think these days, anytime you ever hear anything regarding Achilles, it'll make you a little squeamish, particularly with guards. So I don't blame the Lakers for being cautious about this early. It's the right thing to do, but it's also a potentially tricky thing to manage given Marcus Smart, not just his age and the recent injury history, but how hard he wants to play. Like right. that's part of what makes Marcus Smart an effective player. Like one of the things that he said during his media day session when asked if he prefers to start or come off the bench, in so many words, he said, I don't care whether I come off the bench or start. I just know my presence is going to be felt when I do get on the court. And that is because he plays so damn hard, which again adds that extra stress to his body.
It's a little like Vanderbilt because, there is a certain...
who thankfully is healthy, it seems.
Sure, he is. But Jared Vanderbilt at 85% is still going to look like he's working harder and doing all that stuff. And but it's like he really does need to be able to go full.
Yep.
Because some of his limitations are, the limitations are always there. And the stuff that he's really good at, the way he can be a big time difference maker is, you lose some of that with the 15%. And when he can't do those things, suddenly, the impact he's able to make if he's at 75%, whatever it might be, is quite noticeable. And he goes from incredibly valuable potentially to potentially unplayable fairly fast. There's not a lot of wiggle room there. The third big bit of housekeeping news with the Lakers for the first day of practice was Gabe Vincent. He didn't practice. He is about a week away from being cleared, as Dave reported, with a knee injury. So
JJ said it was possible that Gabe could play this Friday against Phoenix. LeBron has been officially ruled out for that game. Even if that's what you assumed, just so it's spelled out, that has been the idea of him playing in the preseason has not been ruled out. The idea of him playing against Phoenix on Friday has been ruled out. The hope JJ expressed is that Gabe could play Friday against Phoenix. It also now adds a lot of context during his media session when Gabe Vincent was asked about goals for the season. He actually cited games played.
Yep.
He said that last year he played 72. Obviously, his first season with the Lakers was kind of a lost year due to injuries. He said he wanted to build on that 72. It now makes sense why that might be immediately on his mind.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly. I don't think anybody seemed concerned by it, but Vincent's another one of these guys. Like, that's one of the benefits of what the Lakers have done. Like, is Gabe Vincent a critical piece? Like, if they lose Gabe Vincent for 6 weeks, are they done? No, it's not like losing LeBron. It's not like losing Luka or whatever. But part of what the Lakers did this offseason was create meaningful depth to where if they get down to the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th guys in their rotation, that 10th player could be a pretty credible guy, you know, like Jackson Hayes putting on 20 pounds of muscle, which we didn't get into, but, you know, potentially makes him a more viable backup. Like, when you need, like, it matters when your 9th, 10th, 11th players can play. Those nights when you need 15 minutes out of them, 10 minutes, 9, whatever, because the chances are the other team who might be trotting out their 9th, 10th, 11th guy, they're not as good as yours. And like, those minutes make a difference. And so Vincent as your 6th man is not ideal. As your 8th or 9th guy, as part of your, it becomes an important player, plus important to some of their defensive combinations that they want to use. One guy who was out on the floor, Andy, is DeAndre Ayton. And he, we wanted to talk about him coming off of Media Day Monday, but a guy who understands what is at stake for him this season. We'll get into DeAndre Ayton next.
Locked On Lakers is brought to you by Peloton, shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ, their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, reach peak performance. The Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, corrects your form, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. And the personalized classes, the recommendations that you get, they keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and your energy level each week. Let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com.
One more bit of housekeeping on the injury front. Adu Thiero, the second-round pick of the Lakers this offseason, he was injured during he didn't play in the summer league, and he's still not cleared to play. Lakers hoping he can get on the floor in a week or so. So don't expect to see him on Friday, but hopefully he will be back at some point during training camp. So the guy I wanted to hear from most, other than, you know, what's LeBron going to say and some of these other things that are, you know, objectively kind of newsy for your big stars, I don't think there's a player on the team who will single-handedly have more impact on floor versus ceiling for the Lakers than DeAndre Ayton.
Yep.
I think everybody else is kind of a known quantity to some degree. Ayton is genuinely the guy I think that can elevate the Lakers more than anybody else above what we think they might already be capable of. And I was impressed with how he spoke to the media on Monday, his attitude coming into camp, and his understanding of kind of what's at stake for him personally.
Yeah, to whatever degree you think it matters to win your media day press conference, DeAndre Ayton absolutely crushed his. He had one of, if not the money line of the entire day when asked about just the pressure of playing for a franchise like the Lakers, particularly with its history of, you know, Hall of Fame caliber big men. You're playing with Luka Doncic, you're playing with LeBron James, you're playing in LA, you're playing in the context of being considered an underachiever with a low motor. This is likely your last chance to firmly reestablish yourself as a frontline center that is truly respected And his response was, pressure is a privilege. And that was just a great line, him saying, quote, pressure is a privilege, and I'm in the right place to be where everything counts and the fans want us to win. And I'm just here to add to that legacy, bringing a title here. He then went on to say, it's the biggest opportunity I can say of my career. Some people say it's my legacy. Some people say it's my last chance. Well, this opportunity, I can say I'm truly not going to take for granted. And this was amazing too from Ayton. It's almost like a wounded animal. I feel all the tension. I know where I'm at. I've been in the gym every day. And like I said, I'm somewhere where it counts now. And I'm happy that everybody gets to see it. I'm happy where, as a player myself, I get a chance to prove something big on a big stage. And it reminds me of how in his introductory press conference this summer, he mentioned he's been playing kind of meaningless basketball, not just in terms of his own performance, but with a Suns team that was in turmoil after that finals run, or a Portland team that was very much in flux. He has not played significant basketball that really matters since that 2021 finals run, and he missed it. And the idea of that can be taken away along with everything else seems to have inspired DeAndre Ayton to want a better version of himself.
Well, I mean, I look at it in a couple of ways. Like, a lot of the response that you read was, he came from, I asked him, like, your reputation's taken a hit. Fair, I prefaced it with fair or unfair. I didn't want to get into an argument of whether it was deserved with him, but he didn't reject the premise of that, which, there is an awareness of, I know how people perceive me. And, if we were doing a sit down, I would have been like, why? I would have asked him, why do you think that is? How fair do you think it is? You get one question to these things. But, he didn't run away from the characterization that his reputation around the league has been damaged. And I got the impression that he was taking at least some responsibility for that he at the very least understood why that is happening, because I think if he really thought it was unfair and he wouldn't be the first athlete to be like, and then, some of it's just media and I can't control what people are saying. If you look at my numbers, and it's this and that and whatever, guys will come up with ways to make excuses all the time. He didn't do that. He accepted the premise there. And to me, at least, some responsibility for it. And then from there, he even talked about, there are people saying it's my last chance. It's certainly his last chance to get paid like a frontline center. And, it doesn't get better than to do it with Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves. And I think, his recognition of how not only the opportunity is valuable for him from a career standpoint, but how from a basketball standpoint, it literally cannot get better than this. I think it's important.
He described during his introductory press conference the idea of playing with Luka and LeBron like being in a video game. And he's talked before about how he and Luka, they were famously in the same draft class. DeAndre Ayton was taken ahead of Luka Doncic, which obviously in retrospect was not the right decision by Phoenix, but it doesn't change the fact that the two of them entered the NBA at the same time. They've developed a friendship. They share an agent, and Ayton said he's always thought about the idea of playing with Luka, and this is something that he's wanted to do. Like you said, he recognizes what...
I don't think there's a center left on the planet who doesn't go to bed dreaming of playing with Luka.
I mean, some of the happiest days Jackson Hayes has had in the league, old muscle watch. And by the way, Jackson really did look thicker.
You look big, yeah.
But
I mean, I'm 5'9", Andy, and I think he could make me look like a pretty decent center.
Well, if anybody is capable of making it happen, it would be Luka.
I'm 5'9", and when I jump, I go down.
It's interesting when you said that it felt like he was taking some responsibility for this. And to be totally honest, and I'm not even saying you're wrong, I couldn't quite tell one way or the other.
I don't mean he didn't he didn't explicitly say, I should have done better. You talked about not playing meaningful basketball. Well, dude, you're in the NBA. They're all meaningful. Go out and be a professional. Like, he was objectively in a lot of these places not as professional as he needed to be. But I took the idea of not arguing the points, arguing the fairness of it, as an acknowledgement that at least, it's a conversation that's reasonable to have.
Well, what I was going to say is, like, the idea that while he didn't take absolute responsibility for it, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying this as a criticism.
No, I know what you mean.
I'm just saying there wasn't like a mea culpa or a mea culpa adjacent. But what I did like from Ayton a lot, and I think in a lot of ways this is just as important as the responsibility, because even if Ayton thinks all of this stuff is completely unfair, it's a media creation, it's people not recognizing how Phoenix left him out to dry after that finals run, or how he was stuck in this flux in Portland with no discernible direction. He had a lot of self-awareness in the way he was talking about this, and just the self-awareness to, like, to your point, to recognize there's no point in debating this. Like, there's no point in taking up for myself, because it's only going to make me look bad. All I can do is recognize the opportunity in front of me and, frankly, take responsibility for that opportunity, like responsibility to recognize it. And again, like, he was, I think, very thoughtful while he was up there. It was very clear he was thinking about every response that he offered. For somebody whose maturity has been questioned, he seemed very mature on stage. And also, like, even though he is still pretty young chronologically in an NBA career, in his prime, he talked about himself like more of a seasoned veteran. So hopefully all of that stuff came through. But I thought it was a great, great introduction to Laker fans and this fan base by Ayton. Like, obviously he's got to make good on all this stuff, but he hasn't had the opportunity to do that. Right. All he can do is present himself. And again, I thought he absolutely crushed the opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. So, we'll keep an eye. We and everyone else follows the Lakers, keeping a close eye on DeAndre Ayton as training camp progresses. Locked on Lakers on YouTube is ready to go hang out with over 36,000 subscribers to the channel. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow, getting you ready for the preseason opener on Friday. See everyone tomorrow.